Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are safe, you are well, and you are with people you care about who also care for you. I wish I could tell you that the air quality here is better than it was last week, and it is. It's a lot better than it was last week, and it was better this morning when I was outside. But between me walking the dogs this morning and now, the air quality has got markedly worse. It's certainly not anywhere near where it was last week, but I'm going to try and keep this short because I can feel the back of my throat and it's not super happy with all of the horribles. But I do want to talk to you about all of these. So over the weekend I harvested, I think it was like a 10-gallon bucket of apples. A 10-gallon bucket of apples. Now you can see all the apples on the ground here. You can see all the apples still on the tree. I've kind of left the ones that don't look so great up in the tree. And I need to get up here over the weekend and deal with some of the ones up top that are really pretty and look really tasty. But we are literally drowning under apples this year. It has been a really good year for apples. And while our little dwarf apple tree that we put in at the start of, I want to say 2020, we bought the apple tree and we put it in. That tree is now matured to a level where it does regularly produce a decent amount of fruit, as does the other trees that it's with. But the dwarf apple tree this year didn't produce anything. The Gravenstein tree next to it did produce stuff. But interestingly, and this is one for you gardeners out there, it didn't produce fruit that have a particularly great shelf life, and a lot of the fruit that it produced ended up being really bruised. So when I was harvesting them from the tree, I noticed that a lot of them are bruised before they even came off the tree, so a lot of them are now on the ground. Because we've had so many apples, and because I did that 10-gallon bucket of apples, I've not really worried too much about harvesting the apples that aren't looking great, and I've just left them. But I would love to know what caused that bruising and why. And as you may or may not be able to tell, we actually got out into the garden and we did some weed whacking and mowing. The thistles have taken over here, so I'll need to pull those out this weekend. They weren't there when I was here the other day. They come up so quickly, and this is the only part of the garden that's actually getting watered, because the water, I still haven't got around to replacing it. And the good news is that we do now have what looks like we might get some zucchini and some courgette before the end of the year. So that is really great news. Also really great news is my broccoli. Look at that. Now, as I think I've told you all, I really love broccoli, and I'm really happy that this broccoli is actually growing and sprouting and looking really nice and healthy, because broccoli is one of my go-to vegetables. Interestingly, this year the raspberries have kind of given up, and I'm okay with that. But over here, the blackberries have just been incredible. I don't know what it is about that corner. It's very well sheltered. It seems to be a great place for the blackberries to grow, but they're really sweet. They're really easy to harvest as opposed to other parts of the garden, and they're really great. All right, let's show you what's going on in the greenhouse, because the tomatoes are now ripening in hordes. So I've already been through today and I've harvested most of the tomatoes, but some of them are already on their way. More ones are turning. We've got a nice red one down there. These little chocolate cherries over here, these guys down here, they're really tasty. And the cucumbers, well, the cucumbers and the tomatoes are just coexisting in here. But if you look, these miniature tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, are just going absolutely incredibly well. Over here, the more of the heritage ones, these are the kind of the beefsteak variety ones. I've forgotten what these are called. They are a local Oregon heirloom variety. They're doing really well. But as you can see, a lot of the tomatoes have kind of collapsed, and I've been going through and just clipping branches as they've come down because I want them to have air. I don't want them to get blight or anything like that. I've got another couple of peppers growing over here on my miniature pepper plants. But my tomatoes are actually doing quite well. So these are some nice plum tomatoes. They will be properly ripened soon. And I cannot complain. I really cannot complain. Although the air quality outside, because of those forest fires, is getting worse and worse. However, my tomatillos are now actually producing fruit. So that is incredible. And I don't want to scare the bees that are in here because I've got so many bees. I mean, look. Gorgeous bumblebee. The bumblebees come in and hang out on the tomatillos at the end of the day, which I find absolutely wonderful. So they come in and they just kind of hang out and do their thing. I'm just sort of feeling to see how many of these tomatillos are actually close to being ready. And I think some of them, maybe one of them over here, this one is looking quite large, although there's nothing in it. So I'll just have to keep feeling until I find a tomatillo that looks ready. I can't remember what they're called in England. My mum looked them up the other day. They're not called tomatillos, they're called something else. But you use them in a lot of Mexican dishes and they're really, really freaking tasty. We make salsa with them. So this corner of the greenhouse has been doing incredibly well. But if you look at how many bumblebees we have here, we've got one here. There was one flying around over there a minute ago. I saw a couple back there. And then if you come out with me to my my sunflowers, the sunflowers are still going incredibly well, and there'll be some bees on the sunflowers too. So there's a bee there, that's not a bumblebee, but it's a different type of bee. And then if you look up here, there's 3 bumblebees, and then there were 2 bumblebees there earlier, but now there's 1, and then there's another one that's just landed there. And then if you come around, so we have plenty of bees. I don't have to worry about the future of bees. Look at these guys. They're just coming in and doing their thing and heading on out. And it's just really wonderful to see. So if you have any recipes, I'm kind of half joking. We've made a lot of apple butter, and this weekend, hopefully we'll make some blackberry and apple jam or something like that. And most of our potatoes have been harvested now. There's another bumblebee coming just there, look, just there. They'll be at this until the small hours. And when I close up the greenhouse, some of the bumblebees will stay inside overnight because they've learned that that is a safe place to be. And then in the morning they'll get up and when I open the greenhouse up, out they'll fly and they'll carry on doing their thing. I think we must have over 100 bumblebees in the garden right now, and I love it. It's just amazing. Anyway, tell me what you're harvesting, what recipes you're using to deal with all the things that you're harvesting from your garden. And I will see you this time again next week. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on either side of me right now. They are the reason we are doing this, because, you know, YouTube doesn't make it easy to be a creator online in 2026. Bless them. You being a Patreon supporter or supporting us from $1.50 a month on YouTube really helps. If you can't do that, make sure you share our content and engage with it. You can also buy something from our swag store. You can send us Ko-fi. You can send us a one-off donation through the old-fashioned medium of the US Postal Service. However you support us, I'm glad that you do. Make sure that you tell the important people in your life that they are important to you. And I will see you this time again next week. Keep evolving.